Beyond this world, there is a world, there is a world I want. Beyond this world, there is a world, there is a world I want. I choose to see that world instead of this. For here is nothing that I really want. The world I see has nothing that I want. Beyond this world, there is a world, there is a world I want. Beyond this world, there is a world, there is a world I want. Hello, thank you all so much for joining me in studying A Course in Miracles Workbook for Students here on May the 9th of 2023, Lesson 129, Beyond the World. Beyond this world, there is a world I want. And we're reading from the original edition. This is the thought which follows from the one we practiced yesterday. Beyond this world, there is a world I want follows from the thought from yesterday, which was, the world I see has nothing that I want. The world I see holds or has nothing that I want. Beyond this world, there is a world I want. This is the thought which follows from the one we practiced yesterday. You cannot stop with the idea the world is worthless, for unless you see that there is something else to hope for, you will only be depressed. I hope you didn't get depressed yesterday. Not staying there too long, just one day, recognizing that there's really no reason. How does he say it? That the world I see has nothing that I want. There's just nothing there. Our emphasis is not on giving up the world, but on exchanging it for what is far more satisfying, filled with joy and capable of offering you peace. Thank you, this world can offer that to you. It might be worth a little time to think once more about the value of this world. Perhaps you will concede there is no loss in letting go all thought of value here. The world you see is merciless indeed, unstable, cruel, unconcerned with you, quick to avenge, and pitiless with hate. It gives but to rescind and takes away all things that you have cherished for a while. No lasting love is found, for none is here. This is the world of time, where all things end. Is it a loss to find a world instead where losing is impossible, where love endures forever, hate cannot exist, and vengeance has no meaning? The kingdom of heaven. That's where we want to live. Is it lost to find all things you really want and know they have no ending, and they will remain exactly as you want them throughout time? Yet even they will be exchanged at last for what we cannot speak of. For you go from there to where words fail entirely, into a silence where the language is unspoken, yet surely understood. Unspoken. Telepathy. Telepathy, just understanding. Not spoken, but surely understood. Communication, unambiguous and plain as day, remains unlimited for all eternity, and God Himself speaks to His Son as His Son speaks to Him. Their language has no words, for what they say cannot be symbolized. Their knowledge is direct and wholly shared and wholly one. How far away from this are you who stay bound to this world? And yet how near are you when you exchange it for the world you want? Now is the last step certain. Now you stand an instant space away from timelessness. Here can you but look forward, never back, to see again the world you do not want. Here the world that comes to take its place as you unbind your mind from little things the world sets forth to keep you prisoner there. Value them not, and they will disappear. Value them not, and they will disappear. Esteem them, and they will seem real to you. Remember, our value is what we value is what's going to open up the world we see. Let's value the kingdom of heaven and our invulnerability, our peace, our joy, the guiltlessness in each other, our innocence. Let's value that. Let's see it ahead of time before something comes up that you have to decide. Decide ahead of time that, I'm going to see my invulnerability. I'm going to see the kingdom of heaven. I'm going to see the world where we don't have to speak and we just understand. Telepathy, or whatever you want to call it. Such is the choice. So the choice, value them not and they will disappear. Esteem them and they will seem real to you. Such is the choice. What loss can be for you in choosing not to value nothingness? What loss can there be to you to value nothingness? This world holds nothing that you really want, but what you choose instead you want indeed. Let it be given you today. It waits but for your choosing it to take the place of all the things you seek but do not want. Practice your willingness to make this change 10 minutes in the morning and at night, and once more in between. Begin with this. So these 3 10-minute periods, once in the morning, once at night, once in between. Beyond this world, there is a world I want. I choose to see that world instead of this, for here is nothing that I really want. Let's listen to it again. Beyond this world, there is a world I want. I choose to see that world instead of this, for here is nothing that I really want. And we'll sing that at the end of our lesson too. That's what we open our lesson with. As well as what he wants us to tell ourselves throughout the day. The world I see has nothing that I want. Beyond this world, there is a world I want. Okay, but let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Practice your willingness to make this change 10 minutes in the morning and at night, and once more in between. Begin with this. Beyond this world, there is a world I want. I choose to see that world instead of this, for here is nothing that I really want. Then close your eyes upon the world you see, and in the silent darkness watch the lights that are not of this world light one by one, until where one begins another ends, losing all meaning as they blend in one. So the lights are going to come on to the new world. You're going to start opening your vision to see. You're going to become a seer. So as the light, then close your eyes upon the world you see, and in the silent darkness watch the lights that are not of this world light one by one, until where one begins another ends, losing all meaning as they blend in one. Today the lights of heaven bend to you, to shine upon your eyelids as you rest beyond the world of darkness. Here is light your eyes cannot behold, and yet your mind can see it plainly and can understand. A day of grace is given you today, and we give thanks. A day of grace is given you today, and we give thanks. This day we realize that what we feared to lose was only loss. What we feared to lose was only loss. Now do we understand there is no loss. Now do we understand there is no loss. For we have seen its opposite at last, and we are grateful that the choice is made. Remember your decision hourly, and take a moment to confirm your choice by laying by whatever thoughts you have and dwelling briefly only upon this. So every hour, tell yourself, the world I see has nothing that I want. Beyond this world, there is a world I want. The world I see has nothing that I want. Beyond this world, there is a world I want. Okay, let's go take a look at our text reading, and we're in chapter 14, bringing illusions to truth. And we're ready for section 3, out of the darkness. Okay, as you're turning there, what in the world's going on? Here on May 9th, Tuesday, 2023. Hurrah for buttons. Hurrah for buttons. We use buttons a lot, don't we? Last Sock Memorial Day. Oh, Lost Sock Memorial Day. We all have lost socks. My mother to my children, Diane, used to say the sock monster got the other sock. National Butterscotch Brownie Day, National Moscato Day, National Teachers Day, Tear the Tag Off the Mattress Day. Okay, so National Moscato Day. Let's talk about wines just for a minute. Moscatos are from the Muscat grape, which is the Vitis vinifera, and there's over 200 varieties, and one of them is one of the varieties we've already talked about, and that's the Concord grape. And that's a Muscat grape, so you could make Moscato wine out of that. Also, there is don't confuse the Muscat grape with the muscadine grape. The muscadine grape is the Vitis muscadinea, and they're a warm season southern U.S. type grape with a thick skin, and they're very resistant to disease and funguses because of that thick skin. That's why that's what edible landscaping encourages us to grow. But you have to have a warm. The warmest one they have is the Sugargate black muscadine. It grows in zone 6. The rest of those were zone 7 and warmer. And then there's also the Vitis lambrusca, which several grapes, and one of them is the Everest. Let me just tell you, even though it's not a Moscato, I got interested in this particular grape. It's a trademarked grape, so be aware if you're wanting to propagate it. But it's I find this in the Gurney's seed catalog. Jumbo seedless Concord type grape is an Everest seedless, but it's a Vitis lambrusca. So it's a Concord, but it's a Vitis lambrusca. And it's called the Everest seedless. What it says about the Everest: big fruits, big clusters, and big flavor. It's no wonder this relatively new introduction from Cornell University is named after the highest mountain in the world. Juicy berries have a flavor similar to Concord and ripen early in mid-season. Large vines produce up to 33 pounds of fruit. I saw one place that I think it said it even produced 100 pounds. But 33 pounds is what they're saying. Moderate resistance to downy and powdery mildews, moderately. So it's not highly resistant, but moderately. And zones 5 through 10. So it does well here in the Ozarks for you that live in the Ozarks or in zone 6. Zones 5 through 10 for the Everest seedless grape. So we learned a little bit about grapes today. Okay, let's go take a look in our text reading. Out of the darkness, paragraph 16. The journey that we undertake together is the exchange of dark for light, for ignorance, or of ignorance for understanding. Okay, let's start over on that. Out of the darkness, which is chapter 14, section 3. Out of the darkness. The journey that we undertake together is the exchange of dark for light, of ignorance for understanding. Nothing you understand is fearful. Nothing you understand is fearful. It is only in darkness and in ignorance that you perceive the frightening, and you shrink away from it to further darkness. And yet it is only the hidden that can terrify, not for what it is, but for its hiddenness. The obscure is frightening because you do not understand its meaning. If you did, it would be clear, and you would be no longer in the dark. Nothing has hidden value. Nothing has hidden value. For what is hidden cannot be shared, and so its value is unknown. The hidden is kept apart, but value always lies in joint appreciation Value always lies in joint appreciation. What is concealed cannot be loved, and so it must be feared. 17. The quiet light in which the Holy Spirit dwells within you is merely perfect openness, in which nothing is hidden, and therefore nothing is feared. Attack will always yield to love if it is brought to love, not hidden from it. Attack will always yield to love if it is brought to love, not hidden from it. There is no darkness that the light of love will not dispel, unless it is concealed from love's beneficence. What is kept apart from love cannot share its healing power, because it has been separated off and kept in darkness. The sentinels of darkness watch over it carefully, and you who made these guardians of illusion out of nothing are now afraid of them. 18. Would you continue to give imagined power to these strange ideas of safety? They are neither safe nor unsafe. They do not protect, neither do they attack. They do nothing at all, being nothing at all. As guardians of darkness and of ignorance, look to them only for fear, for what they keep obscure is fearful. But let them go, and what was fearful will be so no longer. Without protection of obscurity, only the light of love remains, for only this has meaning and can live in light. Everything else must disappear. Those last two sentences. Without protection of obscurity, only the light of love remains, for only this has meaning and can live in light. Don't be afraid of light. We're children of light. We want to look at things. Don't keep anything back away from your investigation, because in the process of doing that, as light shines on it, you'll see there's meaning there, and it can be shared, and there'll be no reason to be afraid at all, because you'll see that love is there. So without protection of obscurity, only the light of love remains, for only this has meaning and can live in light. Everything else must disappear. 19. Death yields to life simply because destruction is not true. Wow, there's a logical understanding of why there can't be anything called death. If you accept your invulnerability, that you can't be destroyed, that destruction is not real, then the natural result is to understand that death is an illusion. There is no death. Death yields to life simply because destruction is not true. The light of guiltlessness shines guilt away, because when they are brought together, the truth of one must make the falsity of its opposite perfectly clear. Keep not guilt and guiltlessness apart, for your belief that you can have them both is meaningless. All you have done by keeping them apart is lose their meaning by confusing them with each other. And so you do not realize that only one means anything, and the other is wholly without sense of any kind. So don't bring opposing thoughts separate. Don't keep them separate from your awareness. Bring everything in. Let everything come to you and look at it calmly. The truth will always come to the top like cream rises in milk. You've interpreted the separation as a means which you have made for breaking your communication with your Father. The Holy Spirit reinterprets it as a means of reestablishing what has not been broken, but has been made obscure, hard to see. All things you made have use to Him, the Holy Spirit, for His most holy purpose. All things you made have use to Him for His most holy purpose. He knows you are not separate from God, but He perceives much in your mind that lets you think you are, and this and nothing else would He separate from you. The power of decision which you made in place of the power of creation, He would teach you how to use on your behalf. You who made it to crucify yourselves must learn of Him, of the Holy Spirit, how to apply it to the holy cause of restoration. Next paragraph, 21. You who speak in dark and devious symbols do not understand the language you have made. It has no meaning, for its purpose is not communication, but rather the disruption of communication. If the purpose of language is communication, how can this tongue mean anything? A language that's purpose is to disrupt communication? If the purpose of language is communication, how can this tongue mean anything? Yet even this strange and twisted effort to communicate, even though there was an effort to communicate, though not communicating, let's read that again. Yet even this strange and twisted effort to communicate, through not communicating, holds enough of love to make it meaningful if its interpreter is not its maker. And you're being the maker in your twisted mind, and the interpreter now we want to be the Holy Spirit to let us see that even in our lack of communication, there was still an effort to communicate, and that holds love within it. And the Holy Spirit can use that. He doesn't need much to work with. He just needs your willingness more than anything. That's all he really needs. You who made it are but expressing conflict from which the Holy Spirit would release you. Leave what you would communicate to Him. Leave what you would communicate to Him. He will interpret it to you with perfect clarity, for He knows with whom you are in perfect communication. You know not what you say, and so you know not what is said to you. Yet your interpreter perceives the meaning in your alien language. He will not attempt to communicate the meaningless, but he will separate out all that has meaning, dropping off the rest and offering your communication to those who would communicate as truly with you. You speak two languages at once, and this must lead to unintelligibility. Yet if one means nothing and the other everything, only that one is possible for purpose of communication. The other but interferes with it. And the last paragraph, 23, the Holy Spirit's function is entirely communication. The Holy Spirit's function is entirely communication. He therefore must remove whatever interferes with it in order to restore it. Therefore keep no source of interference from His sight, for He will not attack your sentinels, but bring them to Him, and let His gentleness teach you that in the light they are not fearful, and cannot serve to guard the dark doors behind which nothing at all is carefully concealed. We must open all doors. We must open all doors and let the light come streaming through. Can't emphasize that enough. We must open all doors and let the light come streaming through. There are no hidden chambers in God's temple. Its gates are open wide to greet His Son. No one can fail to come where God has called him. If he close not the door upon himself, upon his Father's welcome. No one can fail to come where God has called him, if he closes not the door himself, upon his Father's welcome. So let's not close the door to our Father's welcome. Okay, and boy, that lesson sure goes well with our lesson for today, which we're supposed to tell ourselves every hour. The world I see has nothing that I want. Beyond this world, there is a world I want. And then in your 2 longer 5-minute periods, say, I choose the world, or 10 minutes, 3 times today, I choose to see that world instead of this. For here is nothing that I really want. The world I see has nothing that I want. Or, excuse me, just say, beyond this world, there is a world I want. I choose to see that world instead of this. For here is nothing that I really want. And we'll just sing all that now. Okay, let's just make sure I get it right. I do this the night before, and I like to listen to it. Beyond this world, there is a world, there is a world I want. Beyond this world, there is a world, world, there is a world I want. I choose to see that world instead of this. For here is nothing that I really want. The world I see has nothing that I want. Beyond this world there is a world I want. Beyond this world there is a world I want. I choose to see that world instead of this. For here is nothing that I really want. Beyond this world there is a world I want. The world I see has nothing that I want. Beyond this world there is a world I want. Beyond this world there is a world I want. I choose to see that world instead of this. For here is nothing that I really want. Beyond this world there is a world I want. I choose to see that world instead of this. For here is nothing that I really want. The world I see has nothing that I want. Beyond this world there is a world I want. Beyond this world there is a world I want. Beyond this world there is a world I want. The world I see has nothing that I want. Beyond this world there is a world I want. Beyond this world there is a world I want. Beyond this world there is a world I want. Beyond this world there is a world I want.